Peace. This is Fore. Um, I've just received some interesting. I just received a very interesting document. An actual challenge has been issued to me. It's a challenge, actually a counter-challenge that I started several years ago, issuing out to the Hebrew Israelites and Christians, anthropologists, and anyone who believes in biblical archaeologists to show to me that Israelites were ever in bondage by Kemetic Egyptian Amercan people. I don't believe that. I don't believe there's any evidence of that anywhere found in history. But a gentleman has actually issued out a challenge by presenting a very organized document for me. Let me see. Here's the documents right here. This document is actual evidence that the ancient Kemetians, Egyptians, oppressed, subjugated, enslaved ancient Israelites with non-biblical sources. My official response to Fore challenge by, the gentleman's name is Ayodele Ysrayl. Okay. I respect this because it's a very well put together document that the gentleman put together for me and sent it over to me via email. And I'm going to respond by actually dealing with the beginning from the introduction all the way to the topic. And I'm only going to deal with a few topics. And then I'm going to make a part 2 that's going to deal with the rest of it. So what I'll do is this. Let me see this right. I'm going to actually show his beginning. We as a people must wake up to our complete historical identity as opposed to merely clinging to Kemet. Kemet is only 5% of our ancient African history. That's how he began this. I'm going to rebuttal that right now by saying that Kemet is not 5% of ancient African history. It's not 1%, it's not 100%, it's not any percent of ancient African history because there's no such thing as ancient African history. Africa is a term developed by the Greeks and the Romans from the word Africa. Africa means without cold or sunny, from the Latin word Africa, which means sunny. And it was the only time the first time Africa was established as a province or a place was the Roman Republic. The Roman Republic established a province of Africa. They're the first African people to ever call themselves that, and this happened and followed the Punic War around 146 BC. So before that, there was no place called Africa. A very important point to make is that the point that I'm making is that no ancient dark-skinned person ever borderlined that area and called it one thing. At one point, Saudi Arabia was connected, which parts of it still is, connected to what's called Africa. They never separated it and said that this is Africa and the rest of the world is not Africa. There was no such thing as that. This was done by the Romans. So if you want to continue to discuss ancient African history, then all I ask is to show me any document with ancient African history on it. I'll actually show this. Here's the first Roman coins. These are your African coins from the Roman Republic. There are the Romans right there. And those are the first coins. Those are the first items of anything ever distributing the word Africa on them. Okay? That's that. When it gets to 8 minutes, tell me. Okay. So there's no ancient African documents for Kemet to be 5% of a place that never even existed. There's no point of that. It's not that Africa was one place called Africa, and then Kemet was one small little area on it. Kemet spans 4,200 miles all the way from Cairo down to Lake Tana, and that was the oldest, most organized country ever, ancient country ever developed. There was no such thing a place called Africa until 146 BC in Rome. Now we're going to deal with Kemet. Now, what I'm going to show here is this is the Stela of Cosmos. The second Stela recording is victory against the Hyksos. This is the Stela right here. This is the stela right here, and this is the stela of Kathmos right here. It can be found in the Luxor Museum. This goes back to 1550 BC. Okay, 1550 BC. And we're going to scroll down. I actually zoomed in on, I believe, is line 23, where if you look at there, right there, you see the word Kemet. Kemet. This is a writing carved and drawn by the hands of ancient, dark-skinned, melanated people. Okay, this is not the Roman Republic. This is not any new place. This goes back to 1550 BC. There was no ancient Africa. There was no place called that at all when there was a Kemet. So Kemet is not 5% of ancient Africa because there's no such place as ancient Africa. Okay? Now, here's another thing. He made the claim in the introduction, it was not typical for the ancient Kemetian pharaoh who regarded themselves as Netiru, gods, on earth, to record negative episodes of their defeats with other nations. He continues to say that they never recorded anything. As a matter of fact, let me show the screen. This is what he sent to me. An event that demeaned Pharaoh or Egypt would never be recorded. So any event that demeaned Pharaoh or Egypt would never be recorded. This is one of his obstacles, as he calls it. He calls this an obstacle. He says that this is one of the major reasons why you cannot find that the Israelites were ever enslaved or in bondage to the ancient Kemetians. This is what he said. That's his obstacle. Now, let's analyze if that's true or if that's falsehood. What I'm going to show you right now is this papyrus right here. Okay? This is the papyrus Cellier right here. I'll zoom in on it. This is the papyrus Cellier. That's the actual papyrus. Much different from biblical rhetoric where you get translations in paper that goes back to 1611 AD. This is the actual papyrus. Okay, now this Cellier papyrus is number 10185, if anybody wants to go research it. And it says, it so happened that the land of Kemet was in distress, for there was no lord or king. Apophis, Averez, he had seized control over the entire country. Okay? This is an enemy of Kemet. Had seized control over the entire country. King Apophis made Set the Lord and no longer any of the gods. Is this a text that demeans the ancient pharaohs and the Netiru? Of course it is. Set was known as the open enemy of Heru and Osiris. Apophis, which was the Hyksos dynasty oppressor king, came in, and the Kemetians openly wrote that he took over Kemet, seized it, brought in the enemy as Set as a deity, and dethroned all the other Netiru. We're going to continue this on part 2. Peace.
We're over 8 minutes.